The first exercise I'm going to start with is the push-up shoulder touch. So for this one, you want to start down on all fours and then push those feet directly behind you. You may need to spread your feet out wider if you need more stability, but the purpose of me having the tennis ball on my back is to ensure that my hips are in a stable position, and therefore if that tennis ball falls, you know something's not right. Here I just have the frontal plane view just so you can see how I'm tapping my shoulders. You see limited hip movement, so you see I'm not rocking or falling over to one side when I pick my arm up to touch my shoulder. So you really want to keep those abs engaged and keep those hips nice and neutral. So once you feel comfortable keeping those abs engaged and keeping those hips nice and stable, you can progress to the push-up pull-through. So again, you'll begin in that push-up position with the feet a little bit wider just for stability. And then you want to have a dumbbell sitting behind the palm of one arm. And then you just want to grab onto that dumbbell and slide it over to the other hand. Again, maintaining that balance, keeping that core nice and tight, hips neutral the entire time. This exercise is training those obliques as well as the rectus abdominis and training the core to stabilize. And here's a quick frontal plane view just so you can see how this motion looks from the front. So I get my feet back a little bit wider than hip width apart, dumbbell placed behind one hand, and then I reach for that dumbbell with the opposite hand and slide it over to the other side. This movement should only be performed once you've already established that stability base and you're able to maintain that hip position. The next progression would be to, once you slide that dumbbell over, you just want to draw that directly behind you. It's kind of like a renegade row. So you slide that dumbbell, draw that elbow in a straight line path behind the back, and then bring that weight over to the abdomen or chest level. The next exercise is the bird dog exercise. So I bring back that tennis ball and put that in the lordotic curvature of my spine or the arch of my back, and I allow that to sit there. This will help ensure that my hips are in that nice, neutral, stable position so that when I extend, if that ball falls, you know that my position isn't right, my core isn't properly engaged, and those hips are dropping with gravity as soon as my arm is released from the ground. Regarding the position of this exercise, you just want to be down on all fours with the ankles dorsiflexed, so the toes pointed towards you. But this one is just a frontal plane view so that you can see the motion from the front. So as you see, I'm extending the opposite limb. So when my left arm comes up, my right leg goes back. Right arm comes up, left leg goes back. Both limbs are fully extended in that out phase position. Again, my spine is nice and neutral and my hips are not rocking. To progress the bird dog exercise, I'm going to use a resistance band, a pull-up band specifically. I like to get that in the web of my thumb and index finger, and then in the arch of my contralateral or opposite foot. So you see the band is in my right hand, so it's in my left foot arch. And then I just repeat that movement, maintaining that nice neutral spine, keeping those hips in a nice stable position. And then I extend my arm and my leg as best as I can to full extension, making sure to lock out that elbow and that knee, keeping that foot dorsiflexed or my toes pointed towards me. This exercise will be the lateral cable hold, but instead of a cable, I'll be using a pull-up band. I wrap that around a nice stationary pole, something that I know is not going to move. And then I like to have my hands at about chest level, nice and controlled. And then I create tension with that band by pulling in the opposite direction of the pole, which is going to help engage my core and those obliques because it's going to want to pull me in one direction. But I have to activate those external obliques to really keep me upright. So I really want to emphasize that my body is facing one direction, and all I do is pretty much walk my feet away from the pole to help create that tension. And if I'm not exactly walking my feet away, I'll just pull more at my hands, creating that tension against the band, which again is going to try to pull me in the direction of the pole, which means that I have to activate the muscles of my core to help keep me standing in a nice neutral posture.